right, we're live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when and where you're watching this Facebook Live. This is the voice and the face of Dr. Olabintan. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of Livingspring Family Medical Center in the awesome city of Mansfield, Texas. I just ran up the stairs, so I'm a little bit winded. Happy new month. It's August, August 2023. If this month you celebrate your birthday, a very, very big happy birthday to you. And if not, still, I hope and pray you have a great month. And today, on our usual tete-a-tete with Dr. O, where I talk about simple, practical ways in less than 5 to 7 minutes on how to improve your quality and quantity of life, I will be talking briefly about how to handle overwhelming times. Why this topic? Well, in conversation with some of my clients and with patients and with family members, and just in general, people are going through tough seasons, and still want you to live a good quality of life even through those seasons. And so that's why we're having this conversation. Just simple tips on how to handle overwhelming times. And if you are going through an overwhelming time at this point, I'm sending you a virtual hug and prayers for support through the season so that you are even better through the season, and for grace and for everything you need to make it to the other side of this season intact and actually better. So, what are the tips? And my goal is to get done with these tips in less than 5 to 7 minutes because it is a tete-a-tete. By the way, if you're watching live, hashtag live. If you're watching in replay, hashtag replay. And please, if you share this with your family members, friends who could use some encouragement during this time, or you can comment, put their names and tag them in the comment section. So number one, how to handle overwhelming times. Number one, ask and receive help. In conversation with a lot of my clients and just people in general, there seems to be the narrative where, when I ask who your support systems, they're like, oh, I have this person, but I don't want to bother them. And I tell them, if you were the one sitting in the chair and you were talking to you, what would you say? What would you say? And a lot of times it's things like, well, take it easy. Let me know how I can help you. Yes. So asking and receiving help is very, very important. You need to ask for help from your doctor when it comes to your health care, or even how to deal with some of the mental challenges that come with going through an overwhelming season. You need to ask through resources available to you online. You need to ask people who are actually saying, hey, how can I help? You can have tangible, written out things where you can say, these are ways I could use your help. I could look, I could use someone talking or listening to me. I could use a hug. I could use help in this area and in that area. The more specific, the better. So number one, ask and receive help. Number two, be careful what you're allowing to influence your heart, even through the season. And the truth is, these principles apply even when seasons are not overwhelming. Number one, list like what are you saying? What are you saying? Interestingly enough, you are the first person that internalizes what you say. I do believe in the power of the spoken word. What you say. What are you saying? Are you giving up? Are you admitting or accepting a hopeless situation? Are you saying to yourself that you cannot do it? A lot of times, these messages we send to ourselves subliminally. We tell our brains that this is something that we cannot survive, or this is something that will break us, or this is something that we cannot overcome. And your brain listens to that and acts it out. This may sound simple, and that's the challenge of it. Be careful with what you say. Now, that's not easy when the times are overwhelming, right? Yes. And that's why your support systems are important, because they would say to you, so let me say to you, I've been through this. I'm here to support you. This is what I did during those times. And these are resources I use too, and they can help you. But please, I want to encourage you not to give up on yourself, not to give up on your joy, and not to give up on your peace, even through those seasons, but instead be on the lookout for things that would help you navigate those seasons. Very, very important, because we still have to go through them, no? Yeah. So I don't want it to break you. I don't want it to to get you to the point where you feel life is not worth living, but instead see it as a time to lean into support systems to your left, to your right, to your front, and to your back. So that's number two, be careful what you say. Number three, be careful what you listen to. My goodness. Have you ever found yourself singing a song that you haven't heard in maybe 10 years? It just comes up. It just comes up. That's the power of the human brain. It's amazing the things that you have stored in that database called your brain, from experiences, from challenges, from what you've listened to. So during overwhelming times is not the time to listen to bad news. It's not the time to go staring at the news and focusing, because bad news sells. Do you notice that when you're Googling things and you don't Google, specific questions, but you Google blindly, bad news tends to come up because that gets you going. That gets you it triggers something, and it helps SEO, the marketing. It helps because the news gets you like, oh my goodness, oh my God, bad news, bad news, bad news. And that during this season or during this season, and even in any season, it's not good for you. Be very careful what you listen to. Are there messages that you listen to that uplift you, that tell you what's possible? Are they people you need to listen to that help let you know that, hey, this is hard? Not going to downplay it, but you can come through this too. So it's even more important during these times to be very careful who you listen to. And it's not a false sense of positivity or toxic positivity, as they say. Now, here, I'm going to give an illustration. There's a fire. Here's anxiety. Here's listening to bad news. Oh my God, there's a fire. Oh my God, it's going to burn the things down. Oh my God, fire is horrible. How could you have a fire? My goodness. But here is listening to something positive, even through the fire. It's, oh my gosh, there's a fire. What can we do to get the fire out? Who do we need to talk to get the fire out? What do we need to make sure this doesn't happen again? That's the thought process. Or how do we get through this fire without many things being damaged? So that's what listening to the right people can do. It helps you through the fire. Not tell you that the fire doesn't exist. Like, oh no, let's just stand here and act like the fire is not there. Let's just hold hands and kumbaya. That's not what I'm saying. When you listen to the right people, it helps you say, hey, there's a fire. Let me help you put it out. Let me connect you with people who can help put this out. That's the whole thing. Okay. So we talked about ask and receive help. Careful what you say, careful what you listen to, and be careful what you see. Now, you're probably thinking, well, I can't help it if it comes right in my front. When I say see, I mean what you focus on. What are you seeing? Are you seeing the fire engulfing everything? Are you seeing the fire being the end of you? Are you saying, oh my gosh, I lost this, but okay, what can I do? What do I see? I can get past this. I'm going to do something better. So next time I don't go through this fire. Or what I'm going to do is I see people who have gone through this and have overcome. I'm going to focus my energy on how I too can get over this. I'm going to focus on what, if you focus on the problem, it makes it bigger. Whatever you focus on actually gets magnified, like a magnifying glass. And I'm not saying this to act like I'm being insensitive to what you're going through. I'm just saying my goal is that you still go through it and you're better for it and it doesn't break you. And so through challenging times, through overwhelming times, who are people you need to ask and receive help from? What are things you need to stop saying to yourself? What are things you need to stop listening to? What are things you need to focus on? And what are things you need to, avoid focus, or what do you need to refocus on? What have you been focusing on now that has been a distraction? And lastly, I want to share something with you. One of my one of my tips, my biggest source of strength during overwhelming times. With losing someone, with financial issues, with relational issues. These are things that have helped me to still keep doing what I'm doing and still keep pouring into people and not break down. And so I'm sharing this with you. Psalms 23. This is one of my favorite verses in the Bible. I don't want to get emotional, but yeah, wow, this has helped me through life. Psalms 23 is a psalm of David. The Lord is my shepherd, to feed, guide, and shield me. I shall not lack. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still and restful waters. He refreshes and restores my life. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yes, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no dread or evil, for you are with me. Your rod to protect and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely, goodness, mercy, and unfailing love shall follow me all the days of my life. And through the length of my days, the house of the Lord and his presence shall be my dwelling place. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to get all emotional, but I see this verse. I imagine this verse. I listen to this verse. I say this verse because I don't have to do life alone. He's the living spring. And so I lean in. I ask him for help and I receive help from him. And he sends it through people. I'm hoping this has encouraged you today. A little embarrassed, I got a little teary-eyed, but life happens. But we can still go through it and not break down. We can actually get better for it through our experiences. So we're able to comfort other people who may go through it ahead of us. That's what makes life richer, more intentional, more purposeful. Thank you for watching. And it's my prayer that this month is your best month yet. I'll see you on the next tete-a-tete with Dr. O. Thank you for watching and have a good one.